Hello, this is going to be an unboxing video of another action camera. I'm very excited to try this camera out. Recently purchased from Amazon with some interesting features. So the first part of this video will be an unboxing. The unboxing portion where we show the camera, the accessories, and the menu of the camera. And the second part of this video will be some sample video recordings recorded with this camera. So if you would only like to see video test with this camera, if you're not interested in the unboxing portion showing the accessories, the menu, everything else, and you just want to see video recorded with this camera, please feel free to go to the last part of this video where you will see some sample footage, and I will be specifying at what resolution I'm recording, whether it's 1080p, 4K, 2.7K, etc. So let's get started with this video. What do we have here? Which camera are we unboxing today? Keep in mind this is not a review. If you'd like to see a review, that might be a future video that is posted on this channel. This is what we have here. I have not used this camera. I have just taken off the plastic wrap on the front just so that'll be quicker for me to unbox the camera and I don't have to kind of fiddle around with any plastic, tape, anything like that. So we have this interesting looking camera right here, the Lyfe Magic, made by the company AEE, AEE cams, AEE as you can see here. This is the AEE Lyfe Magic Action Cam, Lyfe. Very excited because I saw, based on the product description, that this camera has optical image stabilization, which I think is a feature that would normally be found on high-end cameras. This camera was around $63, but a number of months ago it was actually $110. So I'm not really sure what the regular price is, but I am super excited based on the product description. Very excited to try out this camera. The AEE Lyfe Magic. Let's start looking at the accessories, look at the menu. We'll insert our micro SD memory card, which was not included. You'll have to buy that separately, the micro SD memory card, in order to store your footage. So let's look at the box and see if they're listing any specifications here. They're talking about some of the accessories that are included. On the back of the box, again, I have the name of the company, AEE. This is the camera, Lyfe Magic. Optical image stabilization. Can't wait to try that out. Stabilized video, that looks very exciting. There's some information about an app. So we have supposedly waterproof. Don't know if there's a underwater housing case included. I'm not going to test it underwater though, so I won't be able to comment on that. One of the video settings is apparently all the way up to 120 frames per second, wide angle lens, 4K resolution at 25 frames per second, built-in 2-inch screen that'll be here. I don't know if it's a touch screen, but we'll see. And then, of course, most importantly, which I'm very excited about, anti-shake, that's image stabilization, supposedly optical image stabilization. That's what we have here, nothing else. Just some specifications on the outside of the box, but I'm very excited to try this out. So, again, I took away the plastic at the top just so it'll be easier. You don't have to watch me taking off the tape. So what we have here is the camera itself with a little bit of a covering here, so we can easily remove that. Now, one thing I also did look at was just to see how the camera was attached to the box. Very important. Do not try to pull on the camera. Don't pull on it. It's not going to come off. And there's a specific reason why. And I have this screwdriver because I'm about to show you in a minute why you just shouldn't pull on this camera. Well, you should a little bit just to take it off like this out of the cardboard box. So let's just do that quickly. There is a box here. Okay, let me try that again. There is a box here within this box. And once you lift open the top, you can see that there's actually an area for a tripod or other accessories. There's an area at the bottom of the camera that lets you insert accessories. And what they did here is they kind of screwed it on here. So that's why pulling on the camera won't work. So just unscrew it to the left, and that should allow you to remove this piece that was included and to actually take your camera out. But of course this screwdriver is not included, so just keep in mind that you will need a screwdriver. So I did that because I wanted to show you the camera first. So let's just recap. We have this box which contains our accessories. We have this piece that was not really sure if we're going to use this, that was screwed onto the camera to hold it in on that kind of base on that display. And here, last but not least, is the camera itself. We're going to take a look at the accessories in just a moment. Oh, it's harder than I thought. To remove this piece of... Wow, this is really glued on there. Here's the camera, the AEE Lyfe Magic. As I said, I cannot be more excited to try out this camera. Here it is, the AEE Lyfe Magic. Has a very sturdy feel to it. Again, this is probably one of the most expensive cheap cameras that I have. I know that sounds kind of weird. One of the most expensive cheap action cameras that I have, because typically, I try not to buy cameras that are like almost $100, just because I think there's a lot of value to be had for less than $100. This one was less than $100. Let's just take off this piece of plastic. We're going to get started just a moment once we see what the accessories are, but also keep in mind that you will need to separately purchase a micro SD memory card, and I've got one over here. 16 gigabytes, 32 gigabytes, either one's fine. This one just happens to be 16 gigabytes. It's very small, going to fit in the camera, but just keep in mind, unless the product description says so, just kind of assume that you'll need to buy a micro SD memory card, or if you have one already, great, because otherwise you will not be able to record anything on this camera. This is the AEE Lyfe Magic, and we're about to get started looking at the accessories. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open the camera to see if there's a battery in here. Again, this has kind of a nice durable feel to it. So you see over here, it says unlock and lock. So we're going to switch this to unlocked, and now we're going to push to the right and then up. That's what we do. It's supposedly waterproof, maybe, so, but I'm not going to test that again. So there, you can see the battery's not included here, so it's probably in this box, but we're going to insert our micro SD memory card. So first we need to figure out how we're going to do this. There's your port for the USB cable, very important for charging your camera and transferring files. Now the question is, am I going to do this right? Trying to insert our memory card here. Uh-oh, did I even... Oh, this is bad. Okay, bear with me just 1 second. Let me get my scissors. Okay, the question is, did I insert this correctly? I mean, you should be hearing a click, ideally. Oh, okay. Listen to the clicking sound. There. Okay, so we did insert it correctly. Very important to insert it correctly, and then push it down until you hear a click. It should go evenly. If it doesn't, try inserting it the other way. So there's a space for our battery, and there's the USB port. So now all we have left to do is take a look at our accessories. Here's the camera, and here are the accessories. Let's get started. So the box is not terribly large. Here it is again, AEE Cams. That is the company. Nothing really else here. So let's just take a look at these very quickly. Here's what we've been looking for. Maybe we should do this one by one. Oh, here you go. Okay, here's our battery. Let's insert the battery. Okay. Sorry, I'm just tripod is a little bit close. Okay. So it's unlocked. So we push to the right. Battery is gonna go there. Okay. Perfect. And then you can also just pull up here to take out the battery. I don't know if we have extra batteries for this, but we'll see. Okay, the battery's now in. Push it back, and maybe we'll push this to locked. Good. So now we're probably ready to use the camera as long as there's battery life. But first, let's just take a look at the remaining accessories that are included. So what kind of accessories do we have here? It's only one way to find out. Hello. Okay, here's our manual. Here's our manual for the AEE Lyfe Magic. It's going to talk about accessories, different languages. So we have time lapse. We have so 1 second. Yeah, so we have let me just go to the first page. Okay, we're going to take a look at the menu in a moment, and we're going to look at the different video settings that way. So nothing really left in this box. This was the box that had the accessories. So aside from the camera, now the camera feels maybe a little bit heavier than most cheap action cameras. I mean, it's feels kind of durable, a little bit heavier once I inserted the battery. Not that that's a bad thing. It's still a fairly small device. So let's just see what we have here. We have the USB cable, which is for transferring files from your camera to your computer, and also for charging. You'll just have to open up the camera like we did before by changing to unlock, pushing up here, and then moving it to the right. This is your USB cable for charging camera and transferring files. Very important. We have, I'm not really sure what this is. What is this? Kind of interesting. Oh. Okay, we have some standard mounts, accessories that you'll see typically on a lot of action cameras. And oh, we have a plastic bag which essentially contains the mounts. We have a couple of plastic bags, so that's kind of cool. Minimal accessories, just some mounts. Nothing too interesting. No underwater housing, no separate case. So supposedly this is maybe waterproof, but I'm not going to test it underwater. Here's the camera. We have some standard accessories, little items right here, mounts, and our USB cable. It doesn't appear that we have an extra battery, but I'm all ready to test the camera. So we're going to just look at the menu of the camera, show you the different resolution settings, and then of course last part of this video, as I said, will be to test the camera. So again, if you'd rather not watch the unboxing portion, please feel free to go to the next part of this video where we show you sample footage recorded with this camera. That'll be in the second half of the video. Okay, now we're gonna hopefully hope that there's, whoa, and there is battery life. That was fast. So I'm guessing this has a touch screen. We have these two buttons up here. This looks like the record button / the power button. We already inserted our micro SD memory card, so let's just see how we can navigate this touch screen. Here we go. So far so good. Nope. Swipe down. Swipe up. Interesting. This is not a touchscreen. I thought this was a touchscreen. You know what? Maybe I'm misremembering something, but I thought this was a touchscreen. And you know what? I'm actually happy about that because I actually don't prefer the touchscreens. I prefer the physical buttons up here, the individual buttons. So let's see what goes on if we click this button. Okay. That brings us to settings, I guess. And let's go back. Okay, so that's the back button. This is the record / power button, so we're not going to touch that anymore. So this brings us to the settings. Let's see, this button is the OK button. Oh, okay, here's our video settings. We're going to select, how much, oh, here we go. We're going to select 1080p 60 frames per second. Now we're going to go here, field of view. We're going to do narrow to avoid any distortion / the fisheye effect. We're going to select the narrow. That's what I would recommend doing. At least, actually, let me rephrase that. That is what I'm going to do because I actually just my preference. I don't like the wide angle because it there's kind of the fisheye effect. So I'm just going to do narrow. That's just my preference. Again, you can just try all these settings, try all the different fields of view, frame of view, and really just go with what you're comfortable with, but just understand that there are some different settings here if you're looking to minimize the fisheye effect and to not have the wide angle lens. So I'm going to do narrow. We're going to record audio, distortion correction. We're going to keep that on. I actually don't know what seamless is. Okay. Slow motion off. Time lapse. We have time lapse, which is kind of cool. And then I hope we have image stabilization somewhere, but I'm not sure. So we're gonna go again. Oh, okay. This is very interesting. Invert mode, so that will make it look like it's recording upside down. We're not going to do that. Anti-shake mode, very interesting. So we have image stabilization on. We're going to turn it off for now, but we'll definitely make some videos with the image stabilization on. And date and timestamp. Okay, so we're going to format our memory card. Just because we did previously have this memory card in a different camera. So that will allow you to erase anything and basically have the memory card as if it was kind of factory reset. If it was another device, you can just format it, which is what we just did. I'll just show you again. Always do that if you previously used a memory card on a different device. Then we're going to go back again. So those are our settings. We have different types of settings. I thought this was a touchscreen, but it's actually not, which is fine. I really do prefer just the buttons. So we go here, left button, and then the middle button to go to other types of settings like image stabilization, and then the left button is again your back mode. So pressing the middle button when you're at the at the recording phase, like when you're before you record, let's see what happens. So you can go to so click the middle button and we get to photo mode. See, it says, oh sorry, photo mode is up to 16 megapixels. So let's try the settings there. So we have photo resolution all the way up to 16 megapixels. Field of view, again, I want to make it narrow. Distortion correction. So we have these nice settings for photos as well. Time-lapse photo, that's kind of cool. We have that in addition to video. Settings, these are just the regular settings, but as you can see, clicking the middle button gets you from photo mode to video mode and vice versa. There's also a playback mode. So 1080p, 60 frames per second. Supposedly we have optical image stabilization. Very excited to try that out. So those are the settings on this camera. You have 16 megapixels. You can get to the photos by clicking the middle button. And you have different settings like 1080p, 60 frames per second. So let's turn off the camera right here. Okay, we have the sound effect. So we are all ready to use this. We are all ready to use this camera. Very minimal accessories. Very durable kind of design, dust-proof design. The lens is not going to get dirty. Supposedly waterproof, but I'm not going to test it underwater. Kind of afraid to do that unless I have a separate underwater housing case. Here, this is the AEE Lyfe Magic. This has been an unboxing video. The next part of this video will be the video test portion of this video, and we're mostly going to record at probably only going to record at 1080p 60 frames per second, my favorite video setting, a combination of smooth video and good quality. The AEE Lyfe Magic. This is the camera, and the next part of this video will be the unboxing. So the next part of this video will be the video test recorded at 1080p 60 frames per second. We might even turn on image stabilization, and I'll let you know when we do so, so you can just see what this camera looks like with the image stabilization on, also known as anti-shake. Very excited to try out this camera. This has been an unboxing video of the AEE Lyfe Magic. Video tests will follow. The AEE Lyfe Magic. Hello, this is a 1080p 60 frames per second video test with the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera recently purchased on Amazon. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the AEE Lyfe Magic. How well can you hear me right now? How good do you think the video quality is? The AEE Lyfe Magic. Just to show you what we are recording with. Here is the camera itself. This is the AEE Lyfe Magic. There it is. 1080p video test at 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. Video test, 60 frames per second with the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera. Again, this is what we are recording with. This is the camera. The AEE Lyfe Magic. .1080p video test at 60 frames per second. Hello, this is another 1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. This is the camera that we are recording with, the AEE Lyfe Magic, as you can see here. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second. AEE Lyfe Magic action camera. Hello, this is a 1080p 60 frames per second video test with the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera that you see here. 1080p video test at 60 frames per second. How well can you hear me right now? How good do you think the video quality is? We do not have image stabilization on this video test. 1080p 60 frames per second with the narrow field of view, not the wide angle view, to minimize the fisheye effect. .1080p video to 60 frames per second. Just taking a little walk. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. 1080p video test, 60 frames per second. .1080p video test, 60 frames per second with the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera. Hello, this is a 1080p 60 frames per second video test with the AEE Lyfe Magic, and this time we have image stabilization on. This is the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera that you see here. We are testing out the image stabilization. So right now we're just going to take a little walk with the image stabilization on, and then let you decide for yourself if you think that this video looks stabilized. Especially, is the video still clear? Because as you might know, with some image stabilization like that you might find on some cheaper cameras, I mean, this camera's not that expensive either, but on a lot of cheap cameras you'll see EIS. I think that stands for electronic image stabilization, which is in my opinion kind of a lower quality image stabilization, because while the video can be stabilized, there is a loss of quality. In this case, we supposedly have optical image stabilization according to the box, so I'm very excited to see if this will not only stabilize the video but also have good video quality while stabilizing the video. So very excited to see this feature in action, a feature which I would think can be found, or is typically found, on higher end cameras. So is this going to be a bargain for the money? Let's find out as we test the image stabilization. This is just a quick walk just to see if we can test out the image stabilization. Just taking a walk here. And of course, without image stabilization, the camera would be shaking a lot. So we're going to see what kind of effect this feature is having on the camera as we take our walk. Yes, I am trying to hold the camera still, but so just keep in mind, however, that without image stabilization, this video would probably be unwatchable unless I'm walking very slowly. But happy to try out the image stabilization here. Optical image stabilization with the AEE Lyfe Magic. Just holding the camera still, not too still, and we're gonna just test it out right now. Take our walk, and the goal is that the video should be watchable. I mean, it might be a little bit of shaking here and there. Again, this is not a high-end camera. I mean, it was previously $110. I bought it for like a little bit less than $70, so my hopes are not that high, but given that we have this feature, I am super excited to test it out. The optical image stabilization feature here with the AEE Lyfe Magic action camera. Testing out this action camera with image stabilization. Just going to take another quick lap so we can get really a good comprehensive test. Now, the question you should be asking yourself is, am I able to watch the video, or is the shaking distracting? So hopefully you are able to watch the video without being too distracted by the shaking. Again, optical image stabilization with the AEE Lyfe Magic. How well can you hear me right now? How good do you think the video quality is with the stabilization? Okay, I think we're almost done. 4 minutes on this video test. It's a good amount of minutes. So you should probably have some idea now of if you like the quality here. Thanks for watching this video. This has been a video test with the AEE Lyfe Magic optical image stabilization video test at 1080p resolution, 60 frames per second. Thanks for watching this video. Have a nice day. Image stabilization test with the AEE Lyfe Magic.